May have talked. Terry and Melissa Arnold, Challenger got off.
All right, Speedy's Garage gang, welcome back to the Speedy's Garage YouTube channel. I'm gonna do an intro for the intro. Oh wait. Anyway, I'm just getting back from ChallengerFest. It was last weekend, so that's what this video is going to be about, some of that event coverage. And if you missed it, you missed one of the best ones. I think it was easily in the top 3. Even though there was a pandemic going on, we still had one of the most successful events we've ever had. Gorgeous weather, a good turnout, great car show, great racing. We raced on Thursday and then eased right into Mo Party on on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you really had a long 4 days of racing, and while it was fun, I was whipped towards the end of it, as you'll see in this video. And I want to say a special thanks to Bill and the folks over at Holly for pulling some strings and getting us set up with the track. As you can imagine, the date started to snowplow a little bit with everything going on and everything getting canceled earlier in the year. So they did us a solid on that. I cannot wait to attend Mo Party again next year. This was their inaugural event, their very first one, and I can say I was there for that. I'm sure it'll continue to blow up and grow and be a pretty huge event, kind of like LS Fest, only for Mopar. So I'm looking forward to that. One thing I wanted to mention is please keep the sponsors of events you attend in mind. And I'm gonna go ahead and put up an image of the sponsors who sponsored ChallengerFest. They are giving back to your community. They're giving back to your hobby. So at least give them a first option when you're looking at purchasing parts or having, doing business or having a service performed on your car. Consider them first and at least give them the opportunity. If you find a better price, give them the opportunity to price match it. They are supporting you and they're supporting us. So it's very important that we support them back. So not only they'll continue to do that, but it's just the right thing to do, really. If you have businesses that are supporting the community, you'll see the ones on the list here. Keep that in mind, the ones that are taking care of you, going to events, and we get the ability to do this kind of stuff. Be sure to support them. I had a good time hanging out with everybody. I got to hang out with some folks from, I believe it's Bluegrass Mopars, the car club, Peach State Challengers. Those guys know how to get down. They literally had a 55-inch TV, full bar, like margarita machine. They grilled out, had like brisket or barbecue or whatever it was. We had barbecue sandwiches one night hanging out. They know how to do it up right. Really enjoyed hanging out with them. I want to say thanks to the folks that helped me put the event on. It's just me and like 3 or 4 volunteers. Phil helps me with the racing and the car show. Lisa, who's fantastic with helping us organize and handling registration. Mrs. Speedy, Phil's wife Diana, Amy. Anyone I've missed, I'm sorry. It's such a whirlwind of a weekend when I'm at that event. If I missed you, I apologize. But thanks everybody for coming out and having a good time. Again, I have no idea how this video is going to turn out. We'll see. So let's get on with today's video. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Speedy's Garage YouTube channel. Today we are on our way to ChallengerFest 2020, and we're really lucky actually to be able to put it on. One of our sponsors, Holly, pulled a couple of strings and got us the track date in September that we've got here. And we were supposed to have the event in April, and because of the pandemic we had to postpone it. We tried to push it to the end of May. The things still weren't opened up, so we pushed it just until we thought things would be okay in Kentucky. And events have started to take place at Beach Bend Raceway. That's our home track and where we put on ChallengerFest every year. So they just had LS Fest successfully. We're running ChallengerFest tomorrow. It'll be a Thursday, and then leading right into Mo Party, which is a brand new event Holly is putting on just for Mopar. So I'm really excited to be up there for that. We got blessed with the weather. It looks like a front's gonna come through and cool things down and dry the weather out. We're gonna have gorgeous skies and 70-degree temperatures, low humidity, so it's gonna be perfect, and I'm excited. It's almost like this event's turned into kind of like a family reunion where with this being our 11th year, it's like we get to see the same people year after year. We're all a little bit older, some of us anyway, but it's like a family reunion. I really enjoy seeing everyone. I'm not really sure what to expect, to be honest. Registrations were good, pre-registrations were good, not like normal though. So I'm not sure if people are waiting to the last minute to kind of see how things are gonna go, or maybe they were trying to see what the weather was gonna do, but still a good amount of pre-registrations, so the event will be a success no matter what. But I'm curious to see how many people actually show up in person. We'll have to do things a little bit different because of everything going on, but we're gonna try to, obviously it's an outdoor event, so most of that will run as normal. And I'm gonna try to show you guys, I'll try to remember to film some of this as we get up here. when I start to run the event, it's put on by me and a couple of volunteers, and it gets hectic. It's one of those events where it's kind of teetering on the size where a marketing company probably needs to be running it, but it's not quite big enough for us to be able to afford that yet. So it's still me and a couple of volunteers doing it. So as you can imagine, you get a few hundred people together for a drag race and a car show. It gets hectic with just 3 people trying to manage all of that. But we've kind of got a recipe down and do a pretty good job, I think. I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but we do our best to make everybody happy and make sure everyone has a good time. And I always try to make Challenger Fest more about hanging out and talking to people about their cars than it is about chest thumping and racing and I'm faster than you are. So plenty of those types of events out there if that's your thing. Challenger Fest is not that, and as long as I'm in charge of things, it won't ever be that way. We really like to keep it low key where people can come of all skill ranges, you know, from haven't been on the track ever to maybe haven't drag raced in 20 years to seasoned racer that just wants to get out and have a good time. So that's kind of the character we're going to try to make it have. So now let's get up to Bowling Green. We got to meet up with Holly to figure out our pit setup and all of that stuff for tomorrow. Get this event kicked off. All right, we're here at Beach Bend. Day before Challenger Fest, getting kind of set up in our pit area. This is where our sponsors are going to be. We're also going to keep our cars over here just to make it easy. Mo Party's also running. You can kind of see in the background some of their vendors are already set up. We got Renegade Race Fuel back there. You know I love their stuff. So we're ready. Well, here we go. My first pass of Challenger Fest 2020. We got great weather, a good turnout. Looks like everybody's having a good time. Make a little test run here. I'm still on my street tune, 93 octane. Just going to get the first run jitters out of the way, make a shakedown pass on the car, and then we'll ease over to some race gas testing and see what she's going to run.
Number on that car. Oh, never mind. It's Speedy.
I forgot to put my number on my car, and I'm the event organizer. Felt pretty good for a street tune. I'm gonna say that was a high, maybe 10.7, 135 miles an hour, give or take. Track felt pretty good. Little shakedown pass. Intercooler temps 107, intake air temps 129. Hey, thank you. Hey, 10.59, 129. Not bad for just a regular old street tune. I don't know what the DA is, but we're gonna check it. It's about 80 degrees out, a little humid. 60 foot was only a 1.7. We're going to do better there.
Hamburg, New York. He's going to be a nominee for the Long Haul Award. Head start, the 990 car will have to run them down. And no, it's not bracket race, it's an index race. Ray Herrick scratches the track. That may have cost it. Terry and Melissa Arnold's Challenger got off the line clean, and there you go. 10:32 and a win line.
Need a Hellcat winner's back, Joe.
Alright, Hellcat winners back to the lane. Hellcat winners back to the lane. For the first time in a long time. And I mean a long time.
You had the best reaction time, we'll give them a 5.
9.6. 967 on the OST dyno car, scratching at 140, 139.93.
We got Mike from OST Dyno checking customers' logs and making tune adjustments. Hard at work, never a break.
Here, let me show you that. Wow.
All right, we just finished up ChallengerFest racing. It was a huge success. I'll tell you more about that later. We actually finished early, so we've got a little bit of time for test and tune. So I'm actually going to go make another pass in the car on the race tune this time to kind of see if we can get prepared for the 10-0 class at Mo Party. That felt pretty fast. I hopped off the line, which is no bueno, but I got back on it. My 60 foot's not going to be very good, but everything else felt pretty nice. Save my data log. Thank you. Thanks for y'all's help today, by the way.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, we had a 10.07. A 10.07 at 136.1 miles an hour. So the DA is right about 3,000. So it's pretty dang hot. We had a 1.58 60 foot, which is no good, but they're not really prepping the track anymore. It's the end of the day. The 1.58 is terrible. I need to get that down to a low 1.5 or a high 1.4, and we would have had a 9-second pass in this DA. So that was a little confirmation check. I got my data log on my race gas tune. I want to make sure we're good to go, and if I can run 10.0 today, it's going to cool off a little bit for Mo Party tomorrow, so we should be in good shape. All right, so I'm out on the Crazy Cooler, checking out the ChallengerFest car show. Oh, God! Hit a bump. Say hi, everybody. weight limit is 110 pounds. Come on. Don't drink and drive. It's probably, filling out weighted at 8:01 because in the history of 11 years of ChallengerFest, I don't think we've ever started exactly on time for awards. We don't want to jinx ourselves by starting on time tonight either. So this will be really casual. We don't have an auction tonight. That happened at the track earlier today, so this is just awards. I want to say thank you guys for coming. I'm probably going to be we are going to be one of the few event organizers that can say we actually pulled off an event during a pandemic. I don't know how many people can actually say that, but we got to add to the record. So that's kind of interesting. Thanks y'all for coming. I apologize for having to reschedule. I'll share this quickly with you that when we changed it from April to May, I thought we would be good to go. The track had actually opened. And the lady from the city called me and she said, we have a 100-page social distancing form you have to fill out. And then the governor's probably going to sit on it till your date passes. And that's not us saying no, but probably not going to happen. And, we're a small group that run this thing and it's just not worth the headache to try to fight, City Hall, as they say. And so we just waited until things were rolling a little bit better. Luckily, Holly reached out to us and said we can work with you and get you a track date because everything started to snowplow, as you can imagine. That's why we had to have the racing on Thursday, which I know caused a little bit of challenges with scheduling and whatnot. But we had great weather, had a good time. We got the run today, and once we have the racing over, we can actually relax a little bit, enjoy some of the event too. And so we had a great car show last night. So thanks again for coming. The last thing I'm going to say is Billet Tech. They have always done a whole lot for this event, and they're like family to me. They have been severely impacted by everything that's been going on. I don't mean financially. They actually had some illnesses in their office, and they're a small company. They do the car pieces as kind of a fun thing. They have a pretty serious government contract, and I'm sworn to secrecy, and black helicopters and stuff show up, and people on zip lines come in if I tell you what that is. But it's impacted them there, so they could not be here tonight. They weren't able to do the certificates this year just because of timing. Nothing else. So I wanted to. They did do plaques, and they sent these way back in like February. So they were planning to do some stuff and be here in force, and then things went south. So keep them in your thoughts, and if so inclined, your prayers as well. They really mean a lot to us, and have done a lot for us over the years. I actually talked to Heidi on the way up here on Wednesday, and she wished us all the best. So think about those guys at the spot. So let's get to some awards. I'm going to let Phil tell me what to grab. I'm going to try to kind of point and just do some social distancing stuff. We'll see how it goes.
Slide at the end of the table.
Yeah. So what's first? All right. The first thing in the room, we got Kurt Dusterhoff. I see him. He does a lot of tuning. Is Mike Dobon in the room? I don't know if he made it back yet. They were over at the track last week. Okay, they took by. We only had a couple of vendors that could actually show up this year. Are any other vendors actually here that want to raise their hand? All Angle Design. Where's Parker?
Come on.
Parker. Hey, get this. I love this guy. So he makes metal pieces, right? His name is literally Parker Bender. How about it? The first time he told me that, I thought it was a joke.
Your car in a heartbeat if you need anything fixed right on the spot.
Where's East Coast?
Andy.
Hey, so I had a very unfortunate incident with the car back, I don't know, it's been 18 months now, I think. Andy took, like, my motor blew up here at Beach Bend, put it right out the oil pan. And, when that happens, you're like, well, Crew Chief Greg, where you at, Crew Chief Greg? There he is. Crew Chief Greg, we're sitting here up at Smoky Bones having a beer, going home with oil pouring all over his trailer. He's like, you gotta see if you can order a Demon motor. And I thought, I don't even think I'll offer that. So I called Andy that week. I said, man, can you get me a Demon motor? And he's like, dude, that's a tall order. Let me see what I can do. Friday, he calls me back. He's like, there's 4 in the country. I got my finger on the order button. Do you want it? I'm like, send it. I got to have it. So took care of me. Great price. I had it in like 3 days, I think. It came in a nice crate. Went straight, put it in, and the thing ran a 984 yesterday and a 991 today. I've had in there for a year, haven't had any trouble with it. Great parts, man. He's like a savant with the stuff. He was telling me, oh, the rod bolt part number changed on the rods for this motor, and they changed it this way, and I don't know how he keeps up with all that stuff, but if you need parts, eastcoastmoparts.com. Thank you. Dan doesn't sponsor directly, but Dan's a personality. I mean, he could have his own reality TV show. I appreciate him coming every year. He and I support each other. MSHS and ChallengerFest have kind of gone together for seven years now, I think. So, been supporting him at the track. Thank you, sir. I go out and try to race at a couple of his events every year. Consider some Motor Street Hemi Shootout a really good time. Great group of people. I will say this, they're much more serious about racing than we are. We kind of goof off quite a bit more, but it's fun to try to get serious about something sometimes and have to focus. I did a video on them a while back to kind of show what it's like, so I had a good time, so thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. All right, appreciate you guys coming. Hopefully, people have been asking me what we're going to do for next year. I'm honestly not 100% sure. We're going to do something. Holly was pretty thrilled with our turnout, so I appreciate a lot of you guys going from ChallengerFest straight into Mo Party. They kept track of that because they were kind of curious to see how it would go. This was their first year, and Bill Tetchner kind of runs LS Fest for them. He's been with Holly for 26 years. He's on me coming out of the restroom and grabbed me. He said, "Holy crap, man! I've never seen so many modern Hemis at an event before." He said, "This is pretty wild," and we've been keeping track of who had ChallengerFest registrations and whatnot. They're already offering to do something with us next year, and they may help us out with the track. I don't know what that looks like, but we'll try to keep it where ChallengerFest keeps the character of kind of being a grassroots kind of thing, rather than the big corporate generally jumping and doing two-wheel drives and around and all that kind of stuff. We're not really that, but if we can work it out where we get more track time we tried to do the pricing where it was a full weekend, long weekend of racing that was reasonably priced, and we talked about that a lot. If we can work that out where it benefits you guys, that's really my goal. I like hanging out. I don't do this for any kind of financial anything. I put in a ton of hours and just do it because it's fun. So that may be what we start looking at for next year. So consider maybe supporting Holly a little bit. They were super, super good to work with. I figured on Thursday, they were bringing in a ton of vendors with semis. I mean, you saw how big their midway was. I thought they would kind of be pushing us out of the way, like, hey, get out of the way, get out of the way when we were running the track. We met with them literally on Wednesday, and they laid a map out, and they said, how much room do you need? We don't want to interrupt your event. And I said, well, if I can have this, if I can do that. And they like bent over backwards to try to make it as easy as they possibly could. So super, super good to work with. And so we may end up partnering with them in some fashion next year. I'm hoping we can maybe do a spring event that's ChallengerFest and a fall event that's Mo Party, and then we get two that we can go to. So we'll see how that works out. That's all I got. Thank you guys for coming. Well, all right, everybody, ChallengerFest is over. I am making the drive south back to Nashville, following Crew Chief Greg. I kind of run interference so he can make lane changes, so I'm following Crew Chief Greg. We've gotten up, had some breakfast this morning, headed back to Nashville. We had a great event, and this was such a really weird year. Those of you that were there and I got to visit with a little bit personally, I kind of told you guys about some of the crazy challenges we had this year. Every year we learned something. We adjusted, did what we had to do, and we had a very successful event. So thanks to everybody who showed up. That's the reason we do it. You know, me, Chuck, Lisa, Phil, Greg, Miss Speedy sitting in the parking lot with our cars wouldn't really be much of a ChallengerFest. So we ended up having quite a few people come. The racing went really well. Awards went great. Very thankful that we were able to have it with everything going on. I personally needed something to go do and have a good time, and partnering up with Mo Party and Holly made it kind of nice because I could focus on ChallengerFest racing and make sure we took care of our racers there, and then Mo Party kicked off, and now I can compete in an event and actually have some fun myself. And so I got out and made a few passes. At the end of the day, like you saw, I was so beat and exhausted, I just could not bring myself to go to the track again. They're doing their eliminations today. It's Sunday, and I was so tired, I thought I just can't do it. So we packed it up, got the car back in street mode to head home last night, and we just relaxed and talked to people and visited with all the folks that come. So thanks again to everybody that showed up. We're already talking about what we're going to do for next year. Holly is interested in us partnering with them again, and there may be some benefits to the racers there. We're going to kind of see what that might look like. We've got a while. As far as when we might have it, with all this stuff going on, I thought it would have been over the pandemic thing months ago. Yet here we are in late September, and you know, some schools aren't even opened up yet, and restaurants are still half capacity. We went to try to get breakfast this morning, went to 3 places before we finally found one that we could get into. So we're going to play that by ear and see if the spring makes sense. Also, if we partner with Holly, what does their schedule look like for Mo Party, and maybe we look at somehow doing it in the fall again. I don't know. The weather was perfect. For years, probably the first 6 or 7 years, we had perfect weather at ChallengerFest every year, having it in late April. And then something happened, and like the past 3, it would rain at least on one day. So we were kind of back to our normal expectation for weather, but it's September now. So we're gonna just have to play with that schedule and see what it looks like and all the logistics. So that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Be sure to check us out on Instagram. It's @Speedy's_garage, as well as our website, www.speedysgarage.net. And please consider all the sponsors that sponsor the events you attend and they support you, like ChallengerFest. I'm going to put an image up now of all the sponsors of ChallengerFest. Please consider them first before you make a purchase, because they're giving back to our community, and the reason they do that is to do something for you guys. We'll give back to them, and it's kind of one hand washes the other. They see they give back to the community, we order stuff from them, and it just rinse and repeat. Everybody's happy. Hopefully, I will see you out there.